All right. Hello, hello, YouTube. Woohoo! Welcome to a little interview about our next master class. I am super excited. So the class is going to go live.
Whoa, YouTube.
Actually, turn that down. We're going to go live with this master class October 12th. And if there is enough of you asking questions and wondering about it after you see it in Jess's classroom at your own university, we will set up something for a Q&A. But, we're going to talk about a topic today that is definitely in the wheelhouse of who we are, right?
Absolutely.
Something that people don't like to talk about and don't want to talk about, yet when it's good, it's great, right? And we all want it to be great. And so our intention here is to really help you have a holistic and fun, loving relationship with your sexuality and sex in general. This class is funly called Not Hard, Not Wet. And in it, Jess dives really deep. So first, Jess, I just would like you to introduce you to our YouTube family and our social family. Tell them who you are, what you're about, and what got you into this field, and maybe a little bit about your credentials.
Okay, great. Thank you. Welcome to me. Welcome to everyone here. And what am I about? I'm about being a human being and getting to, well, hopefully eventually the bottom of what that is, which is obviously a huge, huge, huge topic. But there are some universal aspects to being human, and obviously sexuality is most certainly one of those. So that's always close to my thoughts and my heart and my desire, and it makes me feel alive when I'm feeling it. And and so I have a similar relationship to it as anyone and everyone does. And I think, though, it's one of the most extraordinary, ordinary aspects of being human that exist. And that's always close to the fore for me, really. So some of my background with it, that's the background that's always there. Beyond that, I have had adventures and misadventures with sexuality like so many people have. If you haven't, wow, amazing, good for you. And I like to figure out what's up with those along the way. So, I've done everything from gone to therapy, including gone to, like, as a client sex therapist. So got the angle about a perspective on sexuality that way. I had a girlfriend who is immersed in sexuality still to this day, who's a dakini, a neo-tantric dakini. We were together hardcore for 2 years. And so I learned a lot from her personally. You may have heard that the best way to learn a language is to get into a relationship. And so I really learned a lot that way from this person. And I've been studying and teaching yoga for a long time, very intensely for 13 years overall. That's a lot to explain. And then a part of that, a few years, really studying the roots of more traditional yoga and tantra. Tantra and yoga, really, we're talking about the same thing there. I know that's a big can of worms, so to speak, but I'll just touch on that now. So I studied with a traditional group for a long time and still am to this day. Along the way, I also encountered the Welcome Consensus, out of which came One Taste. And a couple of the founders of One Taste had joined up with that group just before me. So one of them, in fact, male. There's more than a male there, as you know, but one of the males I considered like my older brother in the program. And and I'm still going because I'm still alive and still have desire. And each of those perspectives are different. And we can get into those a bit, maybe in this introductory talk. Maybe I'll go back to you for a moment and see if you'd like to take it anywhere or if I'll keep going. So you're frozen on my end. I hope it's still working. Oh, I heard a little.
Yay! I said, "Come on, technology."
Okay.
All right.
Where you got cut off, but.
So we got cut off at, and I still have, the desire. So it's actually perfect. So through this desire and you've been teaching for a long time. You've been teaching both like traditional classes, and you have your master's in teaching, and then yoga and all over the world with that. And so you bring a lot to the table, and then tantra and just studying sensuality and sexuality and experiencing it firsthand and taking that into account for your own teaching. And I think that that's what makes a really great coach. And that's what I love about your own university is we get to utilize, all of us, we're encouraged to utilize our life experiences to fuel our passion, to fuel our gifts to the world. So you are a beautiful example of that, Jess, and I want to thank you for that. So my next question is really about who this class would be for. So if somebody's looking at this and they're like, not hard, not wet, or I want to know more about intimacy and connection and sexuality, and begin exploring my sexuality without having to necessarily like do kind of the more racy things, right? Like I love that this class really addresses like we're not teaching anything funky or crazy, right? We're just like you really address like some common things that just happen in the bedroom between one person, between you and your closest mate, right? So it's not like some super high-end tantra ritual class or source like that, or some like crazy like sex room someplace, or like, you know what, like sex can kind of go ballistic, right? Or like there's not enough that's just talking about like you and your person like in it. And I love that this class is really for everybody when it comes to that. But who else is it for?
Well, I mean, it's for anyone who, is interested in sexuality, anyone really who's a person who acknowledges sexuality. And then beyond that, it is also for people who might face a little discomfort with sexuality in certain ways. And then, as you touched on, we use a fun title, Not Hard, Not Wet, but it does also address that situation. And then it addresses different layers of that situation, from that most physical iteration of it to more subtle iterations. So overall, it really is about intimacy. And you touched on part of the point there, which is that the perspective on it is that it is an ordinary occurrence that, yes, is very, very potent. So as I said, it's the most extraordinary, ordinary aspect of being a human being that I have ever experienced. It's amazing. And so this class comes at it from that perspective in general, but it also gives you tips on things you might try if you find yourself in an uncomfortable situation, how to make that more comfortable, both within yourself and also with the person you're there with at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important because we're not taught enough what to do or how to do it there. I mean, Cosmo, right? Like we're all taught by freaking Cosmo or Hustler or Playboy or Playgirl, right? I don't know where we're all taught, but it's not really like an open conversation that people have at the dinner table. And parents have, right? Like we're saying like, don't do it and use protection, but we don't say like, how to set good boundaries and how to have clear communication about what you want, so you have a safe environment, so you feel intimate, so you can get harder and get wetter. Right?
Yeah, and that's it. This is a big part of it, actually, both in the moment and also in general. Absolutely.
Yeah. So guys, we're going to have that conversation, or Jess is going to have that conversation. I listened and I'm so blessed by the course already. I can't wait to post it. So it goes live in Jess's classroom in the relationship zone, obviously. So you'll sign into, if you're a member, once you create your membership, you'll get your login and your password. You go ahead and log into your membership area. You enter into the university and you go to the department that says relationship, and you click on Jess's classroom and boom, you take his class. So it will be up there live. And then feel free to respond to the emails, respond to stuff, and ask questions and things like that so Jess can address them. He's going to really be answering them that way, kind of at his own pace, and you'll have his email and stuff in there. And then if there's a large enough group of you guys that want to do it, then we'll pull together a live event with all of you that took the class and all of our members to do a quick Q&A. Jess has a really intense job. He teaches at an international school, and it takes a lot of his time. So to do a live class was something that we had to work around. So this was our workaround to pre-record it. And so is there anything else that you want people to know as they're coming into your class and preparing for your class? And we'll leave that here.
Just have an open mind, and bring your ordinary self to the space, and get ready to listen, and from there, we'll get into communication.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. So thanks again for being a part of your own university, for really tackling this, intimate and kind of like subject in the world. But I think it's really, really important. And when it's good, it's great, right? When it's good, it's great. So, this is definitely a topic coming from working with survivors of sexual abuse. Like, this is a topic of making something great again. I know a lot of people in the world, like 1 out of 4 or whatever, and I'm just going to address this from my own point of view, like something that I want to tackle and rid the world is like this sexual shame and sexual gridlock and not full expression. And it's something that I couldn't and wouldn't stand for in my life. And someday maybe I'll teach more about it myself outside of just private clients, but it's so important, this topic, and to have just a candid conversation about it and have a sacred conversation about it in a way that is just real. And I really appreciate about this class. So if you do have a history of any drama or trauma when it comes to sexuality, and you want to rebuild your relationship with yourself so you can go to that heavenly place. I mean, because when you can go to your heavenly place, or let your man take you to your heavenly place, like, I don't know, there's no other way to heaven. I'll tell you that. Not when you're alive. So that's all I got to say about that. I'll be shut up before I
No, you give me an air high five there.
Yeah, shut up before I blush too much. But it's important. It's an important topic. And when you heal it, and you can heal it, I have 110% belief that anybody who has been through nearly anything, I know there's some cases that are extreme, but that you can heal it, and you can have this beautiful, intimate relationship with yourself and your body, and therefore your partner. And it really starts with everything that you're talking about in this class. So if this is you, jump in, watch the class again. It goes live October 12th. And then on the 19th, we might do a Q&A. We'll see how many people respond, and that's really up to you. So we need to hear your responses. If you want Jess to do that, right? And we will find the time. All right, you guys, talk to you soon. Thanks for joining us on YouTube, and have a beautiful day.